strangest damn thing I ever seen.
That I would have been, killed like the other guy.
Uber just disappeared. He disappeared.
A bunch of deer fell from the sky, apparently.
Get the fuck out of the car.
In November 25th, 2023, Massachusetts State Police received dozens of emergency phone calls. Most were of the standard Saturday night fare: domestic violence, mass shootings, a carjacking, but many were related to the sudden appearance of thousands of wild deer running amok in the seaside town of Winthrop, Massachusetts. When emergency personnel arrived on scene, they discovered a sight vile, horrific, and disgusting. A mountain of dead deer, 50 feet high and a quarter-mile long. Beneath the mountain of dead animals, an automobile was discovered. From within the automobile, dashcam video was recovered.
My name is Officer Glenn Foster, Massachusetts State Trooper. I was one of the first responders on the night of what is now known as the Deer Island incident. As I recall it, it was a pretty quiet night until I got dispatched to Deer Island. As I'm driving down there, all I see is hundreds of deer, giant 10-point bucks streaming down the street. I had to weave in and out of them so as not to hit them. I wasn't on duty that night. Bam! You betcha I would have scored myself a prime trio right then and there. Oh, in the next few weeks, me and the boys did clean up, but it would have been nice to have a head start that night. I still got some venison in the icebox. Anyway, then I get down to the end of the strip there. Most gruesome thing I have ever seen. Had to be thousands upon thousands of them just on top of each other. Half of them dead, the other half injured or fucking broken. This huge rioting mountain about fucking 5 stories high of these things. Impaled on each other, kicking in the air, mewing like skewered rats. Meow! 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 Sounded just like that. Called for backup. Called for animal control. Called for backhoes, excavators, and dump trucks. God damn, what a fucking mess it was.
My name is Jane Goodwin. I'm the head of animal control for Suffolk County. We got a call a while ago about an animal infestation on Deer Island, so I suited up, put on my headlamp, and flew like the wind out the door. As I was driving there, I was surrounded by these majestic creatures with their antlers glistening in the moonlight, and all I wanted was to exit my truck and dance widdershins naked with the deer in the moonlight. But I had work to do. And do it I must. I can't recall exactly what it is that I saw that night, but it was overwhelming. My duty then became to take care of the sick and dying animals, but I couldn't do it alone.
Then we get to the bottom of the pile and found the car. Empty. That passenger's body never showed up. Somehow the dash cam wasn't destroyed, and that's how we got the tape.
I'm Charlie Fanzaka. I'm the guy that got his car destroyed by all those animals. It was a normal night. I was picking up passengers. I go to pick up this one guy. Hamish Martin was his name. Yeah, so he shows up and gets in the car. There's one guy who shows up and puts a gun in my face. Next thing you know, I'm face down on the ground, watching my car speed away. I called the police. I went home. I don't know what happened if I wasn't thrown out of the car like that. I would have been, killed like the other guy.
Dashcam footage reveals what was a harrowing final ride for Mr. Hamish Martin and the hijacker, Xavier Preston. Massachusetts police allowed me to listen to the audio. For the sake of the family of Mr. Martin, We have decided not to include his final pleas to be released from the vehicle, nor the violent retorts from the criminal Xavier Preston. We have, however, transcribed Hamish Martin's final words here. It was at this point that Hamish Martin's voice was no longer heard on the tape.
Yeah, well, he got into this Uber and then he disappeared, and it was a really big shock initially. And because of course, he's my husband. We've been together for a long time, and it was just a normal day, like a normal work day. There wasn't anything unusual except until he disappeared. And I kind of thought that I wouldn't know how to carry on without him, but then I kind of carried on without him. We looked for him a little bit, and so that's kind of where we're at now.
The dashcam video presents no further evidence of Mr. Hamish Martin, but does depict the final moments of the carjacker Xavier Preston. Mr. Preston's minimal criminal history includes only petty theft, but it is believed he was a member of a group of underground dealers of rare antiquities. Audio from the dashcam suggests he had intended to rendezvous with a mysterious third party. Upon parking at Deer Island, we see Xavier Preston approach and speak with someone out of frame, before both the automobile and Mr. Preston are flattened by the weight of 1,000 deers. No other bodies were recovered from the site.
Hi, my name is Arthur Sudbury, member of the Deer Island Historical Commission and published historian. Land has itself been a great site of a great number of human tragedies. For instance, in the 17th century, during Metacomet's War, it was used for a place of interment, so as a burial ground. In 1850, an almshouse was created for the poor. 1896, it became the Deer Island Correctional Facility. And that was like that until 1999. And then at that point, it became a wastewater treatment plant. A lot of tragedies in a very small amount of time. The theory goes, this Operation Paperclip and secret Nazi scientist experiments and whatever there is to be had with this rumor. I will say that there potentially could be tunnels, right? Tunnels between the two, Deer Island and the Harbor Island where the experiments took place, and that they potentially took place underneath. So they're all working underneath the tunnel, in the tunnel, underneath the water. So anyway, that's the theory. It's just a theory. But yeah, and even there's local lore that talks about the hybridization of humans and animals, and apparently, so Deer Island is the home of deer human hybrids, and there's been quite a number of sightings. I have a pretty good Polaroid picture. I took a Polaroid probably in '93, and maybe it is, maybe not. I don't know. But I think it is.
Reports of what had happened made it to the local
All my
townsfolk.
friends were calling me up. I've lived in Winthrop all my life. My friends were all calling me up, asking me about this deer that they found. And I said, yeah, I know, I have a deer in my backyard. Look at the deer I found.
Oh, yeah. It's the UFOs. I see all the lights up in the sky. They're all flashing around. They've been abducting the deers.
Bunch of deer fell from the sky, apparently. My thought, global warming.
It has to be some sort of haunted devil stuff. Am I right?
Well, as the story goes, a container ship coming from Nova Scotia got jumped by thousands of deer. And when the ship eventually got close to port a few days later, shoop. Deer overboard.
Initial estimate was about 400,000, we think, between the bodies that were piled up on land or those that were drowned in the harbor. After months of surveying the local deer population, we estimated about 600,000 in total, making that about 1 million live deer introduced into the population. And that's a lot more than that can be stowed away on a Canadian cargo ship, I'll tell you that. Who do I think was behind it? Big Circus, that's who. 'Twas the ghost of P.T. Barnum, haunting American politics still to this day. Sure, he was on the right side of history with abolition and the value of a human soul, but what has he to say about the gentle soul of an animal? Not but a hypocrite and a scoundrel, I say. I'm done.
And what make of you of the white object that Xavier Preston had in his hand during the hijacking?
Whatever that white object he had in the tape was, that wasn't on him at the time. We didn't know to look for it until later, but presumably it got crushed. Could it have been swept by one of the crew helping clean up the scene? I was in charge of the investigation, and I questioned all the crew. Might have been full of money or something the way that he was clutching it in the video. Was one guy, Harry Thomas, part of the cleanup crew. He ended up winning the lottery a few weeks later and vamoosed to the desert somewhere. Always struck me as a weird coincidence, but not as weird as thousands of deer falling from the sky.
With this new piece of evidence, the crew set out to the high desert to find this Mr. Harry Thomas.
Name's Harold Thomas. Strangest damn thing I ever seen. Had to be 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, all of a sudden just a boom. Thought a plane crashed. I ran outside. All along the water was just this pile of writhing animals. I found the guy they said did it, or at least was killed by it. Listen, all I know, when we cleaned up all the deer, I remember saying, man, I wish I was home right now, and next thing I knew, I was home. About 4 days later, I won the lotto. And now here we are. Life hasn't been the same since then. Can't say it's been all parties and hookers, but now it's just me and the dog. Listen, if I had found something, the police would have come to me. They asked me a whole bunch of things. There's all kinds of private investigators. One guy's missing, another guy's flattened. Who knows? $1 million show up out of the blue. You can go watch a Twilight Zone episode about it if you wanna, but don't ask me anything else about that one. That's just, I don't know, man. I've been smoking and drinking all morning. It's not even 9 o'clock. Like, I shouldn't have said anything. Who are you even with? What is this documentary? I think I'm gonna head back inside. You're welcome to show your way out. Get done here with this.
Mr. Thomas's obvious disdain for the line of questioning led to his retreat from the cameras. However, he left his dog outside and allowed the crew to enter his home for follow-up questions if they promised to make a bail run for him afterwards.
You know, I'm real sorry about the way I was behaving earlier. It's just money's run out. All my girlfriends have left me. The dog's on her last legs. I've been eating kibble for the last 3 months. All I do is get high and throw up. You know, I kind of wish none of this ever happened.
As it turns out, his wish came true.